Everyone, my name is Regina Anjelita from 21C. The major is Education of English. I want to preview the text from UNESCO Institute for Information Technologies in Education in digital natives. How do they learn? How to teach them? I think genre of this text is hereditary exposition text. Why? Because there is social function, generic structure, and recommendation. I will give the evidence. This one, is social function. Of course, in hereditary text exposition, there is social function. The social function of this text is to persuade the reader or listener that digital native is important and to persuade the reader or listener that digital natives must be considered. After that, there is generic structure. Of course, after social function, there is generic structure. In generic structure include thesis. The first include thesis. This is the thesis from the text. Information and communication technologies, ICTs, have changed our societies. Not only they provided us with new techniques and tools, they are also changing many core concepts and values. The relationship people have with technologies is changing and new social behaviors are appearing. We collaborate with peers in new ways. We network with others. Knowledge is changing. Access to and acquisitions of knowledge are changing. The ways in which we work with others are changing. After that, this is the arguments. This is the second part of generic structure is arguments. This is the arguments. There is a lot arguments from this text. Include this one. Communication technologies are devices designed and built to transport information. For example, the telephone created to transport oral information from one place to another one. Digitalized information is easier and quicker to transport, which makes it possible to transport any kind of information, words, images, sounds, etc. Merging information technologies and communication technologies into ICT made possible a fast and massive development of new technologies, computers, telephones, camera, televisions, music players, smartphones, tablets, all kinds of digital devices. Digital tools and ICT are now everywhere in our life, and we speak of a digital society. A digital society is a technological society, one in which information and communication and core concepts information has become a valuable economic good that one can buy, store, and sell. This one. After that, digital native represent the first generation to grow up with this knowledge technology. Digital natives are invited to take part in a global network of collective intelligence. Collective intelligence is not simply the addition of individual intelligences in a group, but includes added value that cannot be reached at the individual level. ICTs allow for the developments of new ways of cooperating and the creations of new concepts at a collective level. This one, still the arguments. Then came Generation X in 1960 until 1989, which grew up between the decline of the colonial empires and the fall of the wall in Berlin. Their generation was confronted with economic crisis and the increase of unemployment. Deep moral transformations occurred. It is also a generation for which individualism was developing. The balance between professional life and private life became more and more important. To this generation is often called Generation Y. It is the generation of digital natives. Today, as the generation Y reaches adult age and becomes employed, huge changes take place inside companies. New approaches and ideas towards hierarchy, time constraints, processes, controls, task sharing, distance working, multitasking, etc. There are vast differences between generations. The generations before digital natives cannot fully understand them or share their values and face difficulties when communicating with them, collaborating with them, and of course educating them to differentiate between digital natives and other users of digital ICT as Mark Prensky introduced the concept of digital immigrants. They are individuals not born in the digital world, but who adapted many aspects of the new digital age. They are essentially different from digital natives in the sense that they must learn what digital natives grow up knowing as a mother tongue. ICTS and particularly the internet bring about a radically different organization that leads to new ways of processing and thinking. Network thinking is now common, and this is a new challenge for digital natives. Thinking in terms of network change profoundly the vision of the world and of human relationships. This networking and collaboration through ICTs allow for new ways of cooperating and the development of new concepts at the collective level. Collective intelligence is a major one. Collective intelligence is not simply and the addition of the individual intelligences in a group. Instead, it includes kinds of added value, a form of intelligence that cannot be reached at the individual level. Knowledge is not only stored in encyclopedia and textbooks. Knowledge that plays in problems to solve, in the question to be answered, the teacher no longer has a monopoly of knowledge delivery. Since accessing and acquiring knowledge has changed different too much. Digital natives has an imperial approach to learning that can sometimes irritate the teachers or parents. They generally cannot concentrate for a long time and they go from one task to another in very short time. They are multitasking or performing several tasks at the same time in parallel or moving from one task to another. They prefer learning through visual and graphics rather than reading text. The school of today hardly fits with digital native. Its organizations with its management, the pedagogy, the evaluations as it carried out, as well as the relationship is established between students, teachers, and knowledge. They are at odds with the new students. The schools of today is not digital, even if it has integrated quite many new technologies. Teaching and learning in a digital society does not mean technologizing education. The human relationship between students and teachers is essential component of the learning process. But this relationship has to take new forms, synchronous and asynchronous, face-to-face or at a distance. Distance education, blended learning, and learning must all take their role and place in the education process. Yeah, that's it. The arguments, there's a lot of arguments in this text. And this is the recommendation from this text. The part of recommendation, this is the last part from generic structure. Generic structure recommendation. After generic structure, there is generic recommendation. This is the recommendation. The first, digital natives are the new citizens of digital societies. Analyze the competencies of digital natives, competencies that they have, competencies that they should acquire. Analyze and take into account what knowledge is in a digital society and what knowledge is for digital natives, as well as how it evolves. The second, digital societies lead to information societies and knowledge societies in order to design teaching and learning strategies for digital natives. We must identify not only their digital characteristics, but also their social, economical, and human characteristics. Yes, we also their social, economical, and human characteristics. Yeah, after that, the third, digital natives are involved in networks, collaborative working, and collective intelligence teaching and learning strategies must take into account such concept. Networks should be introduced in schools, and schools should be networked. Digital natives learn in new way, launch research project about the ways in which digital natives learn. What will they learn? How, why, or how? At what age will they learn? And so on. After that, digital natives must be taught in different ways. Design and experiment new pedagogical strategies for digital natives, bridging the increasing gap between technology and pedagogy. Envelop digital students in the design of appropriate teaching strategies. This one lexicogrammatical from the text. What I can take. The first is generic human and non-human. The generic human is for general, for generation X, and for generation Y in digital natives. And the generic non-human is ICT, of course, from the text. After that, there is mental process. This is the mental process, like the word like changing, express, stress, cues, think, and process. We can see this word from the text to give evidence. I will next to the material process. If this is mental process, there is material process, of course. The material process, the word of material process from the text is like, that's like possible, concept, provided, understand, and so on. This is the rational processes. The relational processes include, this is the sentence, the examples of sentence, from the text. Information and communication technologies, ICTs, have changed our societies. This is relational processes. And after that, the next sentence is analyze the competencies of digital natives, competencies that they have, competencies that they should acquire. That's it, the lexicogrammatical. Okay, after that, for the next is language features. This is the last part of this presentation. I think the language features. This is a hortatory exposition text, in my opinion. This is a language feature from the text, of course, use of simple present tense. The evidence sentence can I give is include, they are individuals not born in a digital world. This is a simple present tense. Sorry. This is the simple present tense. Why? Because this is a nominal using are. So this is simple present tense. After that, they go next door to show an interesting website instead of sending the URL. This is a simple present tense because using verb one or finite verb is go. So that digital natives have an empirical approach to learning that can sometimes irritate their teachers or parents. This is simple present tense too, because using finite verb one. So that digital natives are the new citizens of digital societies. This is the present tense too. And there is a lot of from the text using simple present tense. After that, the benefit where can I get from this text? The benefit can I get is in this journal, I know that digital natives should be important for now. I can know that there are vast differences between generations include the generations before digital natives and generation Y. Previous generations were difficult to divide time and must take time to find knowledge. But in today's generations or generation Y, we can easily access any knowledge from anywhere. We can communicate with any person at any time in any place. We can access a lot of information. Constant accessibility to people is now considered as normal. In terms of technology, the digital generation has a lot new impressive competencies. We have an intuitive mastery of information computers, electronic devices, and mobile equipment. We don't need to read the user's manual and they don't ask for lessons on how to use a computer. After that, this the challenge. I think the challenge from this text is network thinking for the digital native is now common, and this is a new challenge for digital natives. This is the challenge for digital natives is network thinking. Thinking in terms of network changed profoundly the vision of the world and human relationships. Almost everyone is now a member of many networks. Cloud computing, one of the recent developments in informatics, has been made possible by networks. This is the critics. The critics in this context not give an examples how we can collaborate and unity the different generations between generations X and generations Y to face the digital natives and then give solution for generation X how to improve their skills to follow digital natives. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have comment or critics for this presentation, you can comment below.